here we go. Welcome to Sam Roberts Now. Hope everybody's having an incredibly lonely Friday. That's the only way to do it. Hope everybody's getting ready for a great weekend. I just hope you're having the time of your life, whatever you're doing. I hope you're smiling as brightly as this can is right now. It's an incredible time to be alive, and we have a lot of stuff that I want to talk about this evening. So, if you're tuned in, stay tuned in. If you want to participate with the show tonight, super chat in. Every super chat will get read. And of course, Hot Dog's here. Welcome, Hot Dog. How are you?
Ahoy!
Ahoy,
Happy
hoy.
Friday!
Happy Friday, Hot Dog. And it is a happy Friday for, for a lot of us, but not necessarily all of us. You know who's been having a real tough time, Hot Dog? You know who's been, and I don't know, I feel like you have a tough time a lot of the times, and it must bring you great joy to see somebody that's having a significantly tougher time than you are. You know who's having a real tough time?
Who's having some grave misfortune?
Well, it's this George Santos. This George Santos, he starts a new job, and they just won't leave him alone. Now, I am not a hugely political person, so I didn't know really anything. I didn't even realize he'd gotten elected, to tell you the truth. I didn't. No one did. I guess I could have voted in the election. You know, you could have too, right, Hot Dog? Wasn't it a New York election? Doesn't he represent us?
Well, it depends on the district. You know, the New York district.
Oh, we couldn't have voted. He's not in our district. He's not. Well, okay, so he's not Westchester.
Let me look that up. Actually.
Yeah, we don't know. We don't know is the point. And there's a lot we don't know, because even if we did look it up, we would assume he's lying about the district. You know, there's no way. It's meaningless. They keep catching him in these lies. Of course, he's the New York politician that started with, these narcs picking through his resume, and they went, well, you know, it says here that you worked in all these companies, and you didn't. And he went, I might have exaggerated on my resume. I'm not going to explain the nuances to you.
Embellished.
I might have embellished slightly. And then Tulsi Gabbard was like, no, you lied. And he's like, I'm not going to explain the nuances. And that's basically the amount of clarification that we got from him. Then they said, oh, yeah, it's not just his resume. He said that he was Jewish, you know, that he comes from a Jewish lineage, and that he has Holocaust survivors related to him. And he said, they were like, well, there's no evidence of this being true. And as a matter of fact, you present yourself as a Catholic. I don't understand how this could be true. And he said, no. And this is like, a comedian's line. He said, no, there is some Jewish ancestry on my mom's side, but I am a Catholic. I was raised a Catholic. It's just because of that ancestry, I always say I'm Jewish. And it's like, no, that's not, there was no dash when you said it. More recently, you know, his tweets came out where they said somebody was talking about 9/11 or something. And he tweeted them and he said, hey, you're blocked now because 9/11 took my mother's life. And since you wrote that, it's terrible for all the victims like my mom. And he blocked the person. And then 5 months later, he wrote that it was the anniversary of his mother's passing. And with simple math, we found out that his mother died in December of, I believe it was 2016. I believe it was 15 years removed from 9/11. And I mean, even the slightest benefit of the doubt would say, look, I mean, when you say 9/11 took the life of somebody, you're not assuming 15 years later, even if you can somehow trace it back to the disaster. Then, as if we needed more clarification, the government came in and new data came out, immigration data. You know, I guess his family's Brazilian. I don't know if his mother's Brazilian, but I guess his family's Brazilian. And information came out that not only was his mother not in or around Lower Manhattan on September 11th, 2001, but apparently she wasn't in the United States on September 11th of 2001. And that debris went far, dude. That debris of those buildings, like people on the Tappan Zee could see it. It didn't go to Brazil, though. It wasn't. People outside the country were emotionally affected by it. And maybe that's what he meant. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. There's no way he could be lying about all of it. Maybe 9/11 gave his mother such agita, even though she wasn't in the United States. Still, it's a very traumatic thing to see. Maybe it stressed her out to the point that it gave her some kind of cancer and 15 years later killed her because she was still stressed about it. That's possible.
Sam, there's also a bunch of 9/11s. There's not just one 9/11. There's 9/11 2002, 9/11 2003, and onward and onward.
I see. So there could have been the events of September 11th, maybe that year, 2015, that led to her death in December of 2015 or 2016. Because she didn't die on September of any year.
Oh.
Right. It was December, which rhymes, but it's not terrible. It's a different season, is the thing.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go with the agita theory, that it just gave her such agita and she just lived with it for so long. Because they say stress can give you, stress will kill you is what they say. Stress will kill you. And yeah, 9/11 was tragic for a lot of people, but primarily the people that were stressed by it. So I think that's what he was saying. And so I can give him a pass for that one. Now, he has been accosted leaving his work every day since he started, which is an incredible thing to have to live through. I mean, this has been my favorite one so far. There are reporters that they wait for him to leave his work because I guess, you're sitting there in Congress, but reporters are allowed to hang out in the hallway right outside where they're all working. So the minute he leaves the room, there are reporters, and generally their questions are, hey, George Santos, why you lie so much? Why you lying? What are you lying about today? Why you lie so much? You're such a liar. And
are you stepping down?
Yeah, the last one's not even a question. You're such a liar. What do you say to the people who think that you're a big fraud, phony, bullshitter, liar, and also do you quit? Like, can you imagine?
That's what they say to you every time you leave Sirius.
Can you imagine if they did that? Like, can you imagine a regular job, hot dog, your job? Can you imagine if every time you walked out of the office that you work in, not even the building, the office that you work in, if you got to the lobby of your building and just a mass of reporters just running right up to you going, why don't you quit? You suck. Why don't you quit, you idiot? You suck and you're a liar. Are you quitting? Do you quit? Like, you're literally...
Those voices are already in my head.
You're Earl Hebner in a submission match. Do you quit? Do you submit? Do you quit? It's a terrible thing to have to live through. And you look at this guy, and now everybody's watching everything that he's doing. And this one was a real tragedy. Watch this. As he's leaving his office.
Congressman Santos?
He knows what they're going to ask.
What is your response to those that are calling for you to...
By the way, he said good morning. You know what that means? He's on his way to work. That's even worse. It's not even like they're waiting. Hey, I know you're coming to work, but do you resign? And he's like, if I resigned, I wouldn't have come to work. What do you mean? You can't ask a man, are you planning on resigning at the beginning of the day? Because why would he wake up? I would have slept in if I was going to resign. Of course not. But watch what happens, hot dog. It's really a tragedy.
What is your response to those that are calling for you to resign?
I will not resign. I will be continuing to hold my office elected by the
Watch
people.
this.
How do
Watch
you feel
this.
like you're able to serve
Oh,
your
Jesus.
people?
He slipped on a newspaper. Like, he needs this. Like, he needs the added embarrassment. He slipped on the newspaper.
Slipped on the news.
Well, I guess it is. There is something metaphorical about that, isn't there?
I forgot how it all started. It started with just like that regular typical lie by now of like he was gay, but he was married.
That's right. But he says he's gay, right?
I don't know if he's still saying he's gay, I guess.
I haven't been able to pinpoint which is the lie. Where's the lie? Is what I'm asking. And I'm getting silence in response. Look, I can't figure it out because he has said he was gay and has also been married. I think that he is an openly gay man right now. And people are saying, think that he's lying about being gay, I think. But I don't know. I have no idea what's fiction and what's nonfiction. And hot dog, it only got worse this week. I mean, go ahead.
Oh no, I was like, did you mention the grandmother being a Holocaust survivor? You mentioned that already?
What exactly about it?
She was She was definitely not a Holocaust survivor.
Did she perish in the Holocaust?
No.
She made it. Well, she is. Was she alive when the Holocaust was happening?
Let's see. In May 2022, Santos said his grandparents survived the Holocaust.
What year, I'm asking, was she born?
Let's see.
Because if I'm assuming she did survive the Holocaust. Meaning, I don't know if she was. I don't know.
They weren't Jewish. It's
okay. Well, that doesn't mean she didn't survive. Like,
I mean, I guess.
Right?
Yeah, I guess if she was born before it,
Hot dog. Did your grandmother survive the Holocaust?
She didn't die from it.
My grandmother did. So,
okay.
you know, I mean, maybe that's what he's saying. I'm saying it's okay to give people the benefit of the doubt. Look, it's gotten because it's compounding. It's what's happening. So, like. You would have thought that somebody yelling, "Hey, are you ready to quit yet?" and then slipping on a newspaper to start your day would be as bad as the week is going to get. But that's actually the video we just saw is the best thing that happened to him all week. Because there's a couple of big ones this week. First, news breaks that this is coming from 2 veterans. When you're getting accused of something, and the only way to combat it is I'm going to have to call the accusers liars. 2 veterans doing it is not great, especially when one of the veterans was the founder, apparently, of the New Jersey Veterans Network. They're actually not just veterans. They're veterans who help other veterans, right? These aren't people who you would generally assume are lying, but who knows? I don't know. Who knows? So he goes, they decide to let the media know, the public know, that George, he stole $3,000 from them under the guise of him collecting money for their dog that was dying, which is a terrible way to collect money from somebody. But apparently, here's the story that I've read. This is the story from them as I understand it. In 2015, one of these veterans, they had a pit bull who was growing a tumor. Now, this veteran was a little hard on his luck. So he met the second veteran. The second veteran was, as I said, the founder of the New Jersey Veterans Network. He goes, okay, you got me, maybe a place to stay, maybe whatever. My dog is dying, and I need somebody that can help me with that. These 2 got connected with George Santos, who apparently was going under the name Anthony DeVolder at the time, which people just write that in articles. That was when he was calling himself Anthony DeVolder. And I was like,
so many names.
But it's like it's gotten to the point where when you go, well, why was he calling Anthony DeVolder? It's like it's way too just let me finish this story. Like I can't. I don't know because that's what he did. So he's calling himself Anthony DeVolder, and he goes, I can help, and apparently he does help animals. Like it's something that he does. He does help these rescue animals. So he goes, I'll get a GoFundMe started. I'll do that for you. They go, okay. They raise $3,000 for this dog. And then they start going, all right, George, we're ready for that $3,000 that you raised for the dog. And they're saying that George got very difficult to communicate with at that point. Well, you're going to need to take the dog to the vet. I'm going to need to go with you. Matter of fact, I'm going to need to take the dog to the vet. You can't go with me. Well, you're going to need to do that. Well, you're going to need to do that. Well, and it's one of those things where it's like, well, you set it up for us, but you can't just hold the money over our heads and have us do stuff for it. You're not in charge.
Hoops.
Yeah, you collected the money under the guise of this. So George Santos has responded to it. He sent a tweet. So, again, he said, the reports that I would let a dog die is shocking. He's shocked. Is shocking and insane. My work in animal advocacy was the labor of love and hard work. I think you would say was a labor of love and hard work. You wouldn't say the labor of love and hard work. Like that encapsulates all labor that anyone's ever done. If that's there can only be one labor of love and hard work, and his animal work was it, you'd say a labor. Whatever. Over the past 24 hours, I have received pictures of dogs I helped rescue throughout the years, along with supportive messages. These distractions won't stop me.
Why they keep lying on him?
Yeah. And then GoFundMe was apparently reached out by it, and they said that, particular campaign, that they reached out to the person who was behind it and said, hey, can you provide us proof that the people who are supposed to be getting this money are getting it? That proof was not provided, so the campaign was shut down, and the person behind the campaign was banned from GoFundMe. So George
got the money?
Whoever did it.
Whoever.
George has said that he does do GoFundMe for animals. GoFundMe has said that this was a campaign that went awry. And the veterans are saying, yeah, it just connect the dots. It was George. But he was going by Anthony DeValdere at the time. And George says, I'm shocked. I have no clue what anybody's talking about here. I'm totally out to lunch on this one. I'm Paul, and that's between y'all. So he thought that's as bad as it would get. After the newspaper slipping, they're saying you're killing dogs for $3,000. And he's like, no. Number one, I'm not quitting. Number two, don't talk about the newspaper slip. Number three, I didn't kill any dog for $3,000. And then this picture. So this is him, right? George is like, now he looks very heavily made up in this photo. He looked like I mean, it looks like there's a lot of makeup on him. This is from his Twitter account. This is his profile photo. He's like, yeah, that's his official portrait. That's his whole thing, right?
I can't even guarantee that's how he actually looks.
Well, if you think that's a lot of makeup, check that out.
Oh, that's a lot more.
Yeah, it's more. So the New York Post comes out with this article going, hey, I don't know if you know this, but in Brazil, back in the day, George Santos was a drag queen. So I don't know if you guys knew that. And,
but here it is.
But there's a picture of it. And they're saying that's clearly George Santos. And George is like, no, it's not. And they're like, no, I mean, that's you. And George goes, no, it's definitely not. Now, if you look side by side here, I mean, they're strikingly similar. They're the exact same nose. The teeth structure. I took a forensics class in high school, okay? The teeth structure is literally exactly the same. What's that? The canine tooth, the one right by your front tooth there? It's got this exact same angle on it. I think they were whitened more recently. I think they're whitened in that photo a little bit. But, I mean, the shape of the teeth, the lips are the same shape. They're much more red when he's dressed in drag. The face is exactly the same. The eyes are the same. The smile itself, the cheeks are the same. The smile itself is exactly the same. I mean, I've never seen...
This could be...
I mean, what could it be?
This could be just a mistaken thing. This could be a Santina thing. Maybe that's his sister.
See, that's the thing. What you're talking about is a wrestling angle where it was indeed the same person. That's why they looked so similar.
Was it? I don't think so.
No, I know they said it wasn't on TV, but that was fiction. That was fiction. It was indeed the same person, which is generally the only plausible explanation as to why they look so similar. Generally. But George came out. He said he didn't come out. No, he didn't come out. I'm not saying he responded. He responded. I misspoke. He responded. And he said the most recent obsession, and this is maybe one day removed from the previous most recent obsession. Like, this is maybe one day removed from the dog tweet where he said, I didn't kill any dogs. Now he's got to tweet out the most recent obsession from the media claiming that I am a drag queen or performed, in quotes, as a drag queen is categorically false. The media continues to make outrageous claims about my life while I am working to deliver results. Hot dog, good news. I will not be distracted nor fazed by this. It's another distraction. Now, look.
A lot of distractions.
It's many distractions. It's so many distractions. The problem is not that he was a drag queen. The problem is that he's categorically denying it. He's saying it's 1,000% false.
Did you see the video?
I didn't see the video. The face looks the same.
I can send it to you.
Well, I don't know. I'd have to pull it up and everything. See,
yeah.
The problem is that right before we went on the air, and this is the media doing what the media does, which I think is just disgusting. they researched this, and it's just it's gross, that
It's a gold mine.
Well, Politico went on and they went on Wikipedia, Wikipedia, and they wanted to see if they could find any information about this. And in 2011, April 29th, 2011, a wiki page was made. I know it might be tough to see on camera because it's so white. It's so light, it's bright.
Mhm.
But it says, I'm not going to say the name of the person yet, but this entry was edited by a person. It says, born into a Brazilian family with a European background. Background is spelled wrong, by the way. On July 22nd, 1988, this person first started, with two T's, his, quote, stage life, which is interesting because performed was put in quotes in the tweet and stage life was put in quote, whatever, at age 17 as an gay nightclub drag queen. And with that, won several, spelled wrong, gay beauty pageants, spelled wrong, exclamation point. Although after meeting Hollywood producer Ling Q, known for producing Independence, spelled incredibly wrong, Day,
Jesus.
by Steven Spielberg, an older person, then took his step into the beginning of his career in which, spelled like a witch, like the Wicked Witch of the West, beginning of his career in which he started in a few TV shows and Disney Channel shows, such as The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody and the hit Hannah Montana, period. But, lowercase, it wasn't until with two L's, he taped his very first movie in 2009, not starring, Uma Thurman, Chris O'Donnell, Melissa with three L's, George, and Alicia Silverstone, two words, in the movie The Invasion.
Wow.
Hot dog, this Wikipedia page, written on April 29, 2011, was written by a person using the username that is the same name described for this person. Meaning the article was written about a person that shared the same username. Hot dog, do you know what name that was?
Was it G. Santos?
It was Anthony Devildare.
Oh, God.
It was Anthony Devildare. Says right there, the user is Anthony Devildare, and this was a Wikipedia page created for Anthony Devildare. George Santos, or Anthony Devildare, has a Brazilian family with a European background. He was born on July 22nd, 1988.
I mean, these are clearly three different people that we're talking about.
Three now?
The woman in Brazil, Anthony, and George. There's a mistaken confusion here. Mistaken
Also,
identity.
the 2009 film The Invasion, starring Uma... Oh, by the way, it's not Uma Thurman. It's Uma Thurman. The 2009 film The Invasion, starring Uma Thurman, Chris O'Donnell, and Melissa with three L's, George, as well as Alicia Silverstone. None of those people or actors that have similar names were in a movie called The Invasion in 2009. However, in 2007, there was a movie called The Invasion starring Nicole Kidman and Daniel Craig. That was 2 years before 2009, and nobody named Anthony Devildare that I have been able to find was credited in the film.
We need to find this Anthony guy and question him. That's what I think.
I think that's a very good
We
idea.
could probably get some answers out of him.
I mean,
Clear
this
this whole thing up.
put a bow on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anthony Devildare. So it's looking tough. I mean, he's tweeted that it's not true. So You know,
So,
so on one end,
he said, she said.
it's like you have this mountain of evidence over here, and then a tweet going, "This is a distraction." So, you know, whichever side you want to go on with this stuff, it's still totally up in the air. We have no idea what's true and what's false. And
You can maybe ask Pierre Delecto, see if he knows anything about
maybe
this.
Carlos Danger would have an idea. But, I mean, hopefully at some point we'll get to the bottom of whether or not that's really the same person. They have the exact same facial structure and expression.
Aren't you excited for the bomb-ass documentary that's going to come out?
I mean, people have got to
It's gonna
be fist fighting to get this docuseries off the ground.
Yeah.
Do you know how many people? I mean, the trick would be to convince him that this is good for him and have somebody follow him around with a camera right now. Because I'd be fascinated by every move that guy makes. I've seen footage of him in Congress. Looks like nobody's talking to him. He was trying to make friends with Marjorie Taylor Greene as maybe like the two weirdos, you know what I mean? But I don't think she wants anything to do with him. He's out of his mind.
She's going to stoop that low.
No. She's like, people say I'm crazy if I do this. Oh. So that's what's going on in the world of politics, Hot Dog. I'm glad we got to the bottom of that, because there's something far more important happening. The trailer for Scream 6 has dropped. Scream 6 drops in March, and we got the first full official trailer. A couple of months ago, we got the teaser, or maybe a month ago. I was very excited about it. We talked about it here on the show. On Wednesday, we got the trailer for the trailer, which I thought was excellent.
Ugh, hate those.
Nope, they're great. And because they get you excited. And on Thursday, we got the official trailer. And Hot Dog, have you seen it?
Yeah, for Ghostface Takes Manhattan.
Well,
I've seen it.
Yes. Now, of course, what do you think, first of all? Why are you excited?
It looks good.
That's what I'm
but
hearing.
It does have the potential to stink up the joint.
Every movie does. Just say it. If the trailer looks good, the trailer looks good. What do you mean it has the potential to stick up the joint? But I mean, that's so negative.
Because you're going all the way out of the safety zone with this movie.
What, you're trying something a little different?
Yes. Yeah.
Look, Nev Campbell's not in it, and that is an issue. That's a major issue. But everything that I've heard, a lot of people were very skeptical about Scream 6, even when the teaser dropped. And everyone that I've heard has watched this trailer and gone, okay, they might be onto something here. Now, I'm not going to play the trailer because every time I play the trailer, YouTube busts me for some kind of copyright thing. But I'm going to tell you all about it. We're going to break it down, okay? So we're in New York here in the Scream 6 trailer. It's just called Scream, but they highlight the middle of the M and the last line in the M. So it looks like a V in the I, Roman numeral 6. So it's just called Scream, but they're acknowledging that this is the 6th Scream movie in the franchise. And Scream doesn't miss. It's not all home runs, but every one is at least a double. And there are multiple home runs in there. Scream 1, 2, and 5 are all home runs. Scream 3 and 4, I mean, Scream 3 is the double. Scream 4, it's a triple on a good day. Okay? So, we're in New York. And we can tell that we're in New York because the kids that have survived Scream 5 are walking into a bodega. Now, apparently, we see Jenna Ortega in a bodega. It's fun to say. So the kids apparently they've gone to college together. They're going to a university in New York City, the Big Apple, Manhattan. And presumably, Ghostface is back. Somebody portraying themselves as Ghostface, some people, we don't know. The first shot is in the bodega. Ghostface follows them in. He follows them in with a knife. One guy it's New York. You see weird things every day. He doesn't care about Ghostface. So he goes, hey, buddy, there's a line here. Ghostface stabs him up good. A lot of murder in the first 30 seconds of the trailer. Then the store owner, the bodega owner shows up. He goes, not in my store. And he tries to get Ghostface, but that's not happening. Ghostface stabs him up, takes the shotgun away from him, and right away, we see a different type of Ghostface. Right away, we realize that we're in for something else because Ghostface takes the shotgun and shoots the store owner like it's nothing with the shotgun, and then starts to stalk the kids from Scream 5 and some of their friends that are in that bodega. And we see, and then it flashes, the shotgun goes off, whatever. Titles flash, and here we are. Paramount presents Scream. Now, a lot of questions to be asked. First of all, the mask is dirty. Now, the whole thing about Ghostface, what makes him amazing, is that there's always somebody else behind the costume, and it makes sense because even before Scream ever came out as a movie, it's not like Scream did not invent the Ghostface costume. Scream took a costume that already existed in every Halloween store. That's why you can have multiple Ghostface. That's why it's so hard to tell who it is, because everybody could have this outfit. Even in Scream 1, you've got kids in the high school that are dressed up as Ghostface in the exact same outfit because they were able to get one in a Halloween store. This one, however, the mask is dirty. So the question is, why is it dirty? Is this an original Ghostface mask that we have, you know, for like a serial killer fan collected it? Is it just a Ghostface mask that's been around? Is it just some of the grit and grime of New York City? Who knows? You have any theories, Hot Dog?
Not a one.
Did you even think about that?
I mean, I just figured it's just a way to. I mean, it's cracked also. It's not like it's not just dirty, I think.
Well, we find out because the next scene, Sam, I believe it's Sam. It's Sam. It's a Samantha, not a Samuel. Is holding the mask. Now, this is key because this means, number one, they obviously survived the confrontation in the bodega. And number two, Sam has the evidence from the confrontation. Maybe this wasn't a real Ghostface, or maybe this is actually prior to the bodega, and she's holding one of the original Ghostface masks from, you know, Ghostface haunting her in Scream 5, and somehow it's out of her possession, and then when she's met in the bodega by this Ghostface, then they have the mask. Who knows? We're speculating here. But Sam, of course, we find out in Scream 5, spoiler alert, the big reveal is that she's actually Billy Loomis's daughter. Billy Loomis, of course, being the original killer from Scream 1. So we've got Billy Loomis's daughter now holding this mask as the person who is now kind of the central final girl. Her and her sister, played by Jenna Ortega, of course. But she's the one, right? Which I'm sure if they knew what a big star Jenna Ortega was going to turn into, they'd flip that. But it is what it is. We are where we are.
Jenna got a lot more screen time, I feel like.
In the trailer? Yeah. Well, you got to let them know. Guess who's in this movie? So so we see this, and already we can start to speculate what's going on in that bodega scene. I mean, there's one possibility that it's Halloween, and there's more evidence as we go on that it's Halloween, and it's just maybe it's just a guy robbing the bodega, and he happens to be wearing that mask. Doesn't really explain why it's so dirty. There's a lot of questions. Next scene we get to, we see the lady herself. This probably meant nothing to you, Hot Dog, but this is Kirby Reed. Kirby Reed is, as it turns out, the final girl in Scream 4. Now, for a lot of Scream 4, she's kind of a red herring. We think that she might be Ghostface. It turns out that it is not. Ghostface is one of the film geeks from school and Sidney Prescott's cousin, played by Emma Roberts. This is Sidney Prescott's cousin, best friend from Scream 4. Now, in Scream 4, we don't know if Kirby lives or dies, but if you look really closely, in Scream 5, when they're watching a film review about one of the Stab movies, one of the suggested YouTube videos that comes up on the side of the screen is Kirby Reed, Woodsboro survivor, tells her story, and it's a thumbnail of her. So we find out technically via the Easter eggs in Scream 5 that Kirby did survive. She's not in the film, though, just that Easter egg. Scream 6, she's in the movie. Now, we don't see that much of her. Who knows what that means? Could mean that she doesn't make it. Could mean that she does, and they just want us to speculate. But I did notice that we didn't see a lot of her in the film. She does say we share a history. She makes reference to the point that, yep, she's been here too. And and maybe she's being haunted by Ghostface as well, as somebody who's, one of the rare survivors of these Ghostface murders. Hot Dog, is this a big deal to you when you saw Kirby Reed show up in the trailer?
It was not, but now I think that bitch is it.
You think she's it? Yeah, you figured it out already.
Yep, figured it out.
So, that bitch did it. So, we go to the next scene. This is it. This is the one that you can pick apart all day long, that you can look at the close-ups, Hot Dog. I'm sure that you did. And you can see everything that is in this shot. What we find is we hear Gale Weathers' voice. And she explains that this is a shrine. What has been set up is they have found that someone or someones have set up a shrine to all of the Ghostface murders. And we see here, this, I believe, is Sydney's, Emma Roberts from Scream 4. This is the outfit that she wore. You can see that blazer over here. That's the blazer that Billy's mom wore, who was the killer in Scream 2. You see that bloody white t-shirt? That's obviously Billy's t-shirt from Scream 1 that he dies in. The red jacket is the robe that Stu wore at his party in the first Scream. I would imagine it looks like that clapboard that's in the Detolf there from the Stab movies. The fictional movies that are inside the movie based on these crimes. If you look real closely past the white t-shirt, it looks to be the TV set that fell on Stu's head, which has got a lot of people thinking. Over on the side here, you see a lot of stage decoration from Scream 2, where the kind of climax of the film happens. Over here, you see Tatum's outfit. Tatum, of course, the Rose McGowan character. You even see over there, you see a mannequin who is wearing the Drew Barrymore character's boyfriend's outfit. In the original Scream, the first person who dies is Drew Barrymore's boyfriend. He is in the backyard, and he is duct taped to a chair with duct tape around his mouth. He's the one who ends up getting gutted in the tree. That mannequin is not only wearing his jacket, but if you zoom in, there's duct tape wrapped around the mannequin's mouth so they can reenact everything. I mean, there's a ton of stuff. You see masks over there. And then, of course, the big pièce de résistance. Pièce de résistance. In the back there is all of the Ghostface robes lined up. Every killer in the Scream movies, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All 9 of the killers, because, of course, most of the movies had multiple killers, are on display with what appears to be Billy Loomis's Ghostface robe in the prime position in that big glass case. This shot and all the scenes in the trailer that take place in this room, I think, have all the Scream fans losing their minds. Hot Dog, you must have been real excited when you saw this.
I went like this.
Your audio dropped, but I'm assuming it was a scream, a very girlish scream. I'm looking to see if there's any other details I want to bring forward. Did I write anything down? I think well, there's a lot there. There's a ton of stuff there. And as we're looking at this, right, we see Gale Weathers. She's talking. And she said,
she did it.
Okay, I thought you thought Kirby is the killer.
Yeah, but now I think she did it.
You think Gale Weathers is the killer?
I think Monica is stabbing people.
It's not Monica. It's not Monica from Friends. It's not.
Okay.
It's not Monica. It's Gale Weathers. It's different.
Okay.
So she says, this isn't like any other Ghostface. And this is key. This is something that is really hammered home in this movie, in this trailer. They keep talking about how this is a different Ghostface. We've never had a Ghostface like this. Even here in this scene, for some reason, if anybody should not have a landline in 2023, it's Monica from Friends. It's Gale Weathers. Somebody who's been haunted over the phone. I don't have a landline, and I've never had a serial killer hunt me down over the phone. If I had a serial killer hunt me down over the phone, it'd be even more reason not to have a landline. But she has a landline. She gets a call from what sounds like the original Ghostface. And as she's going, and it's great, it's very self-referential, she goes, you know, like 10 people have tried to do this before. It never works out well for the guy behind the mask. She's talking about all the killers that have happened in Scream. But luckily for us, they're using like something, it looks like there's like an f1.2 aperture or something on this lens because the background is super blurry.
You nerd.
and in the back, I've been doing a lot of research, and in the background, somebody gets murked. We don't know who it is because of that nice back blur, right? We don't know who it is. But Ghostface is right there, and Ghostface starts to attack Gale Weathers. So there goes your... I mean, we see a fight between Gale Weathers and Ghostface in the trailer. So I don't know if Gale Weathers is Ghostface. Anything, Hot Dog?
Well, I think that...
You thought Gale Weathers
always...
was Ghostface. We see her not only fighting Ghostface...
There's multiple.
Oh. So they don't get along anymore?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Okay. Even on the phone call. She goes, it doesn't work out for the guy in the mask. He goes, there's never been one like me. Again, it's like 6 times in this trailer. It's pointed out. There's a different type of Ghostface. There's a different type of Ghostface. I'm something different, he says.
I'm different.
Yep, I'm different. Then we see this that we saw a little bit in the teaser as well. We see the subway scene. Now, the subway scene is very, very interesting. Because as you can see, even in this still, multiple ghost faces are in this car. Cool. You like this scene, right? There's like, it looks like there's 3 or 4 ghost faces in this car. Now, does this mean that there's an army of ghost faces?
Yes.
Does this mean, or are people in the subway just dressed as Ghostface for Halloween? Stab is a big franchise in the universe that we're watching, right? It's not like the Stab movies exist. So if you look at what's going on in this subway car, there are so many horror references. There's literally, if you look, there's a Jason Voorhees that looks like he's wearing the mask from Jason Takes Manhattan. There's a Freddy Krueger. This wolf mask is from the movie Creep. A great movie, by the way, if you haven't seen it. This mask over here in the corner, the skeleton mummy-looking thing, is from Creep Show. There's a Babadook standing behind him. That, I don't know, what's that, Beetlejuice or something? Everything in this car, like Pinhead, look at right there. Pinhead is right there from Hellraiser. Every person in the car is dressed as a villain from a horror movie, mostly from franchises. There were 2 Creep movies, so that's a franchise. So maybe everybody in the car that's dressed as Ghostface is not in on the attack. Maybe they're fans of the Stab franchise. Don't forget there's been many Stab movies. Or they're all working together. You think they're all working together?
I mean, it looks to me like there's at least 7, 8 murderers in this movie.
Well, it could be. It could be because then, of course, the trailer, that's it, right? Yeah, the trailer ends with Ghostface attacking Mindy, and we don't know if Mindy makes it or not. It doesn't look good, though. And clearly, like, I would imagine with all the people dressed up that this movie is taking place on Halloween, right? Like, that's what it seems like it's taking place around the Halloween season.
You stab somebody in a train, though. I mean, you got 2 or 3 minutes where you're just stuck there. It's not very feasible.
Are you saying that in current day New York City, nobody's getting stabbed on trains?
Yeah, but there's like 6 other Ghostface there ready to stab you up if you act out.
It's just like a gang.
Yeah.
Okay, it's possible. I don't know. I haven't seen a movie. I haven't seen it.
I think it was more like, just kidding.
What I see is I'm making sure that I got all my notes, right? Okay. So, first of all, Hot Dog. Something that's been brought up many times. Every time a Scream movie comes up, and there's even a script for one of the Scream sequels where this is the actual plot. In Scream 1, Stu has the TV land on his head, and that's how he goes out. But we never get the body. We never see the full confirmation that Stu is dead. So, I mean, I don't see how you survive a TV falling on your head. But there have been many who have said, you know, what Stu's going to be alive. Stu's going to come back. Stu's going to come back. Stu's going to come back, right? He's the one from Scream 1 that goes, my mom's going to be so mad at me. It's Great. Love him. Love Stu. One theory, and I think that this was even the concept for a Scream movie at one point, is if he's alive, first of all, if he's alive, he would have to be in jail. And if he's alive and in jail, why wouldn't somebody have mentioned that in the last 5 Scream movies?
Right.
Right? And if he's not in jail and he's just disappeared, why wouldn't somebody have mentioned in the last 5 Scream movies that he disappeared? Like, the fact that it hasn't been brought up that Stu's not dead in 5 movies feels a little retconny to me, that there's any possibility that Stu could be alive. Like, how could you justify the fact that nobody... We've seen all the characters. We've gone through all these movies. Sydney, Dewey, Monica. They're all in all these movies. And none of them have mentioned that Stu's alive. None of them have mentioned, yeah, we never had a body. Nobody said that. We've gotten so deep into the Billy Loomis backstory, and nobody mentioned, hey, by the way, how's Stu doing in jail? Ever?
Didn't he say his clothes, or it was in that shrine or something that they showed?
His robe was in the shrine, yes.
Okay.
So you're thinking he did it? You're thinking he did it?
No, I mean that.
I mean, look, the stuff in the shrine would be very difficult to get. The TV that fell on Stu's head, the clothing that the killers were wearing when they died.
Who has access to all of
Who has access to all of that? He got all the robes, whoever this person is. They got all the robes.
eBay?
I don't know if eBay will even let you sell it, to tell you the truth. They got terms of services. So I can't say that it wouldn't make sense for Stu to be alive, but at the same time, if he is, it certainly would help get all that access. Here is what I think. I think that generally every Scream movie, the whole franchise, is about a commentary on horror movies. That's what it all started. It's self-referential. There's always somebody in the movies that's obsessed with horror movies. The rules that the killer always follows are horror movie rules. They spell it out. They say, we're doing these tropes. The killer is doing horror movie tropes on purpose because it is all about people who are obsessed with horror movies. And I think when the movie first came out, that was a thing, right? Horror movies are dangerous. This violent content shouldn't be shown to our children, right? But now, the most slap fighting is a show. Like, violence is no problem anymore. Nobody has a problem with kids seeing violence anymore, right? So my thinking is that this movie is not about horror fans like the others have been. My thinking is that this movie is about serial killer fans. If you look at what's been going on with modern culture, the fact that all these serial killers develop stands now, right? When Richard Ramirez was part of American Horror Story, these chicks were throwing themselves at him. We had Zac Efron doing Ted Bundy. Bay. I mean, come on. Evan Peters is Jeffrey Dahmer. Bay, right? People are standing these serial killers. People are consuming every bit of serial killer content they can get. What? You got tapes of him talking? Let's do a 9-part docuseries and just listen to all the tapes together. I want to hear more. I want to hear more. That's where I think that the shrine comes into play. It's no longer about movies. It's about the killers. And I think that there are maybe a group of people that have become obsessed with these killings and making sure that the killings continue. And that somewhere along those lines is where Scream 6 is going to land. And that's what's going to make it different. The whole point of this movie is that it's different. Yep, I'm different. I think that it's no longer about horror movie tropes, working in a video store. It's not about movie geeks anymore. It's about serial killer obsession now.
It's about society.
That's it. It's always been about society. But now, the horror movie thing's been done. Everybody knows all the tropes because Scream was such a phenomenon. The serial killer thing. What happens when you get too obsessed? That, I think, is Scream 6. I think that's where it's going. Hot Dog, what do you think?
I mean, you know the franchise a lot better than most people. I think that's a pretty. I'm gonna follow you with that guess.
Nice. Who do you think's the killer?
The blonde bitch.
You think so?
And Monica.
Hayden Panettiere and Monica, you think it's just the returning character. Those are the killers.
I saw them and I went, yep, it's those two bitches right there.
You know what the move would be? Make Jenna Ortega the killer and she survives.
Ooh.
Okay.
Then I would stand.
Now you've got a horror franchise where the villain is Jenna Ortega and she's got to come back every movie. Come on. You wouldn't
talking about stan culture.
Exactly. How ironic would that be, right? If the movie is about being obsessed with these serial killers and these villains, and you leave Scream obsessed and standing Jenna Ortega, and she's the villain. What do I got to move out to LA to tell you guys what to do?
I'm invested.
Come on. You're welcome.
If that doesn't happen, I'll be upset.
This is what I do with wrestling too. People, they go like, that's exactly what they should do. And then they're like, yeah, no, we'll just do this again. People are like, what? Well, you got me excited for this other thing. I'm like, well, I made the other thing up in my head. What can I tell you? I make these things up as I go. Hey, speaking of all-time villains and liars, that's the theme of tonight's show. That's thematic. You hear about Carole Baskins?
Yes. I read some of the articles about her husband.
So this interview came up. This interview apparently went down in November of 2000. Where was it? I wrote it down, I think. Maybe 2021. It's like a year old. And she did it on this, this chat show, this UK morning show. And she basically said that her husband is alive. You know, Carole Baskin from Tiger King, who she's famous for. Joe Exotic hates her. And yeah, everybody thinks she killed her husband. Do you think she killed her husband?
I haven't seen any evidence to the contrary.
Fed him to tigers, you think?
I think that's exactly how that happened.
That's the working theory, that she fed him to tigers. Joe Exotic, who is not trustworthy about a lot of stuff, but for some reason when he said it, it's like, yeah, I think that definitely happened. Yeah. I'm actually quite.
You heard him say a bunch of crazy shit for an hour and a half.
Yeah, it's like, that's not true. That's not true. That's not true. That makes a lot of sense. That last thing that he said. Yeah, I think that's probably right.
I think she killed her husband and fed it to the tigers.
And so, yeah, actually, okay, all right. She's got a tiger farm, right? And her dead husband, well, missing. Okay, no, that checks out. Tigers ate the bones, you think? Yeah, okay, I can buy it. So, tell me if you're more or less suspicious after this. She goes on this show, and this is the clip that people just found like a year later.
Do you believe that? Do you believe that, Carole? Do you think that he's still alive?
By the way, keep in mind, too, Carole is invested at this point because every interview she does, she wants to promote her big cats. You know, she just wants to promote like, oh, I'm looking after the big cats. And everyone goes, why'd you kill your husband so much? And she's like, I wish you wouldn't bring that up. I'm trying to talk about my thing. But here's how it worked out for her. This guy's one of those guys that like.
Do you believe that, Carole?
Oh, sorry. This guy's one of those guys that like. I'm doing like a professional morning show, so I don't want the guest to be mad at me, but I'm definitely going to still ask her if she killed her husband. So I just need to figure out how to word it.
Think that he's still alive?
I didn't think that he was capable of supporting himself. He took about $1 million down into Costa Rica, and I had agreed to let him do that so he could prove to himself that he couldn't make a living. And when we recovered what we could out of that years later, it was only about $80,000 because the investments he had made were so bad. So I don't know how it is that Homeland Security says he's alive and well in Costa Rica, but I'm glad to hear it.
So she said Homeland Security says he's alive and well in Costa Rica. He's doing good. And she said in the interview that one of the great things about Tiger King 2 was that she was able to find out that Homeland Security did have this information, that Homeland Security had found him and that he was alive. She hadn't spoken to him at all, but yep, case closed. Cool. He's alive in Costa Rica. And we are ready to move on, yeah. Except for one thing. One thing. is that the Hillsborough County Sheriff, which I guess is the county that is the presiding county over where Carole Baskin is, has said the sheriff's office says that Carole Baskin's husband, not only was he declared dead, but he is still 100% very missing. Very missing. That there is no message from Homeland Security is what they're saying. That's not a thing. The thing that she said is not a thing. That he is still missing. Her husband's lawyer has said that, yeah, the prevailing theory is that he was maybe killed, like his plane got hijacked and he was killed going to Costa Rica. But yeah, there is certainly Homeland Security has no evidence of him living there. And Carole Baskin
articles just kept coming out with like misleading headlines. Like Carole Baskin's husband found alive.
Right. That's what she said.
Right. They just took it.
Right. Because she said Homeland Security said that. And then they were like, well, do you have evidence of Homeland Security saying that? She was like, yeah, they said it. And everybody was like, oh, okay. Yeah, because they told me. What do you mean evidence? They told me. And they were like, oh, okay. She was like, actually, Anthony DeValdaire called me himself and told me. No, I mean, and unfortunately for Carole Baskin, it just opened up this can of worms all over again because people, like myself, are theorizing that maybe she just said this, hoping that people would stop asking her if she killed her husband. But what I feel has happened because of it is that now more than ever, it seems like she killed her husband.
I mean,
seems
why
like
would you lie?
Yeah, I mean, you would just say he's missing, not hey, he was found. Everybody stop asking. I'll tell you what.
You have your cover up. You have your cover up story already.
He's gone, and I'm as sad as everybody else. We're just gonna keep doing that instead of being like, hey, Homeland Security found him. And he's living off 80 grand in Costa Rica, and he's enjoying himself. So let's not even look into this anymore. And you're like, okay, that's suspicious because you would think they would tell the sheriff's office, hey, stop looking for this guy. I found him. Hey, that guy you were looking for, I found him. But instead, I guess they just, yeah, he's in Costa Rica. He's having a great time. Instead, they just call Carole, I guess. They just went straight to Carole and said, well, you don't need to call the sheriff's office. What's he going to do?
I'm going to let you know your husband's alive. He's chilling. He said don't come looking for him.
Yeah.
So
she was like, you got it. You got it. You know what she said to Homeland Security? I'm glad you found my husband, but if he's alive, what the fuck did I feed my tigers? Yeah. So,
he got shot down. Is that your theory still, or are you going with the Tiger King theory?
I'm going with fed to tigers for me personally. If we're just talking about opinions, I'm thinking fed to tigers. Yeah, and that the whatever remains were left were put down that sewer. Remember, Joe Exotic said there was a sewer.
Right, but he's not the most trustworthy.
No, I don't believe him on anything except this.
Okay.
Like, yeah, no. All the other stuff, I think he took advantage of a lot of people. I think he probably did plot to have her killed. Like, I think that Joe probably guilty of whatever he was, found guilty of and probably should be in jail. I don't think that makes him a liar about Carole Baskin feeding her husband to tigers. What does one have to do with the other? Like,
that's true.
If you asked him what color is your hair, what would he say?
You would probably say it's black.
And blonde on top, right?
Yeah.
So he doesn't lie about everything. So, I mean, he hooked up with that one dude. He said he hooked up with that one dude. Remember?
All right. Okay.
And he said he had that line. Remember his line? Hey, when you watch porn, you like a big one or a small one? And the guy was like, I guess a big one. He was like, you're not totally straight then.
Come on.
He
made a good point.
But that's slick talk. That's slick talk. And you can't be a total liar and do good slick talk. I would say at least one time out of 50, Joe Exotic wasn't lying. And
And which one was that?
the Carole Baskin feeding her husband, dead husband to tigers. I think that was the one. I think so. And actually, the thing Carole said about her husband is alive and well in Costa Rica, and that Homeland Security told her that, has made me incredibly more suspicious, much more suspicious. Yeah.
I mean, now people are just going to look into that.
Well, the
Like,
sheriff
why?
said that's not true. The sheriff, I read a thing that said the sheriff said that wasn't true. So that made me go like, oh, then I'm going to go back with my original theory of the tigers being fed the husband. Yeah. I think that's the one. What are you going
She
with?
just shouldn't be doing media.
No. Because I think she probably did. I mean, it's like, that's why OJ. Remember when OJ did an interview about like, well, hypothetically, this is what I would have done. And then on accident, he just stopped being hypothetical within 30 seconds and just said, this is what I
And then I
did.
grabbed her.
Right. And then Judith Regan had to be like, you mean if you had grabbed her? And he was like, exactly. Yeah. So, I think, Carole Baskin would be like, here's what I would have done. I fed him to the tigers. And they're like, wait, what was the second thing you said? She said, if I fed him to the tigers. Right? And they were like, nope, that's not what you said. She's like, well, whoops.
I hope this is all a misunderstanding and we do find them over there relaxed with a nice tan.
You know what I hope?
80,000.
This is what I hope. I hope Carole Baskin's husband is in Costa Rica. I hope he's been living off 80 grand for 20 years. Just like living off the land. He's got a little shack in the jungle, smoking
Hey,
weed.
Costa Rica.
Yeah, exactly.
Money goes a long way.
Exactly. And I hope people are like, do you know what's going on in America? And he goes like this. Yes. You know what I mean? I hope he's like, no, I have Netflix. Yeah, they have Netflix here.
Just chilling.
I watched Tiger King. I watched the sequel to Tiger King. I watched all of it.
Great shows.
Yeah. And they were like, do you know everybody's accusing your wife of feeding you to tigers? And he's like, yeah, I've seen all the clips. Yes, I know that. And they're like, why didn't you say anything? And he's like, I was enjoying it too much. I've known the whole time. I could have made this much easier. And instead, I've decided to just chill in Costa Rica. And you know what people would be like? I get that. Yeah, I get that. I mean, hot dog. If you were with a lady, she was giving you a hard if. If you were with a lady, girl or guy?
Sam, I told you, girl.
Sounds so
I like
authentic.
girls.
No, I know. And I can tell the way you say it. So, if you're with a girl, she's kind of giving you a hard time, And so you just split, right? You just disappear. You're like, this lady is giving me such a hard time. I can't stand her so much. We're married. I'm just stuck. I'm just going to say goodbye to everyone. I'm never going to see Sam again. I'm never going to see my family again. I'm never going to see Drake again. Nobody. I'm just going to go. I can't even go to DR because they know me there. All the masseuses.
I would go to Japan.
Okay, so you go to Japan. Just try to blend in, right?
Yes.
And you are in Japan and you go, yeah, but hot dog, all those people that you left that can't talk to you anymore, they all think that lady you left behind killed you.
That would be my reaction. I would say great pleasure in that.
You would just giggle.
I would just giggle, yeah.
And just stay hidden. What?
Yeah. And they're like, you want to come back to the States? And they're like, maybe next year.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll clear it up at some point.
I don't think so. Matter of fact, the fact that you recognize me, I got to find a new place to hide because now
I got to call the vacuum repair guy.
I was thinking, yeah, exactly. Again, yeah. I was thinking about going back, but now that I know this rumor is spread, I'm not gonna spoil this for anyone.
At least 6 more months.
Yeah, at least. Well, look. If you want to contribute to tonight's show, super chat in. Every super chat will be read tonight. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button, all of yous. We're putting up material on the channel all the time. If you're a wrestling fan, Notsam Wrestling is where all the original wrestling content goes. And there's a Notsam Clips channel. Did you know that, hot dog? Notsam Clips?
It looks amazing. I'm subscribed.
I'm not. My hands are off that one.
I know.
I got peeps. I got people working on that. But go and if you like clips, especially from wrestling interviews and stuff, they're going through the whole Notsam archive. There'll be stuff from this show on there too. Subscribe to Notsam Clips and watch all that stuff. We'll go to the super chats again. Every super chat will get acknowledged and hit like. By the way, this is not a super chat. I just feel like I'll acknowledge it. Avoidant Consumer 3 says moot point, hashtag no genitals hot dog.
They didn't pay for that. You didn't have to read that one.
I just saw it in the chat. Poodle and John Fritch, again for free, just said big if.
Again, we don't have to acknowledge those.
Sorry, I forgot. Just acknowledging the super chats. I forgot about that.
Yes.
Poodlerific said, "Where'd the cheese go?" I don't know. That's a throwback. Six Crow, thank you for the contribution. And by the way, Six Crow, when you called in to Jim and Sam, I knew it was you. I knew it was you, Six Crow. But I didn't want to have to go in because then Jim would be like, "Who's Six Crow?" And I'd be like, "Oh, he's on my new Notsam Wrestling Patreon." He'd be like, "You have a Patreon?" "Yeah." And then it's like, there's way too many details. I figured I'd just wink at you. And you'd know, I'd know, it'd be fine. So
Six Pac.
Six Crow, not Six Pac. I wish Six Pac called in. Sean Six Pac Waltman. Avoidant Consumer 3. Okay, he did pay for one, so I'm glad he got I'm glad he got the shout out. Sammy Pop Culture Muffins. Did we watch the new Night Court Larroquette 5 ever? I haven't watched it yet. I'm gonna give it some time this weekend though for sure. John Larroquette rules, and he did reveal this week he is the narrator in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, greatest slasher movie of all time. He's the he does the narration in the very beginning. That's all. It's just his voice. He got paid in weed, he said, to be on that movie. Yes, paid in weed, which I feel like is a soundbite that he just pushed out there because he was promoting Night Court. Geemer 3x3. Hot dog's teeth are a shade of white that I didn't think existed in nature. Shout outs to Hot Dog. Very good.
Close your eyes.
Got them white teeth. Whoa, it's blinding. You're throwing off my white balance now. This is crazy. That's what I do sometimes. I just zoom the lens in on Hot Dog's teeth. And the camera goes, that's not true white. That's much brighter. Much brighter. Chris Atkinson, happy Lonely Friday, everyone. No, Chris. Happy Lonely Friday to you. Monkey U. I think that dirty old Scream mask is Billy's original Scream mask that was stolen either from evidence or that Sam had for some reason and was stolen from her. Sam being Billy Loomis's daughter.
Amanda.
Right. So, yeah. Or, well, okay. So I would imagine they have to kill the ghost face that's in the bodega. Sam has her hands on the mask after that scene, I would presume. That's probably when they go to police and they find this whole shrine. Because where else would the mask have come from if that was an original mask? Which would then go to the theory that there are multiple ghost faces because that would have to happen in the beginning. Right?
So you think the bodega ghost face gets axed right there and there?
How else would they get his mask?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Not Sam Lehman, are we to assume that Scream 6 will happen mostly on a boat? Yeah, I think, yeah, they are technically in New York, but very early on in the movie, it's the prom and they're going on a boat cruise. Yes. Got to budget those locations. He also says, look at me. I'm the ghost face now. Because he's on a boat, pirate. Somalian pirates. Captain Phillips joke, Hot Dog. Remember Captain Phillips?
I remember that guy.
That poor guy.
Actor never got
he thought he was going to get it, though. He was nominated for an Oscar.
Yeah.
And he was like, I remember, he was going out doing interviews going like, oh, you ain't seen nothing yet. I'm just starting. And they were like, I mean, yeah, you are just starting, but we've seen it all. We've seen everything. Nathan Gerald. When are we getting a review of the new Eric Brendan Fraser movie on this channel? I feel like you are not actually requesting a review of the film The Whale, and instead are just disguising a shot at my friend Eric Nagel, which I don't appreciate. However, I do appreciate the super chat, so I will acknowledge it. Monkey U, let's just call the tie and say Hot Dog is with a man who identifies as a woman. Oh, you know who you might be with, Hot Dog? Say hello to Mrs. Marte.
Ah.
Mrs. Marte. Hot
Whatever.
Dog. Why don't you turn off the TV, Hot Dog? I got to go to Japan. I got to get out of here. I can't.
What's that bulge?
I can't be around. Doesn't this look like a woman who might be disguised as a man? I feel like
it could go either way.
Yeah,
to be
this is the
honest.
drag photo. Yeah, I think so. Suspect Phil, my guy. Sam, how can I become a producer on E-Rock's movie? I think the only way to become a producer on E-Rock's movie is to subscribe to It's Eric Nagel and tell 2 friends. I think that's what you have to do. And with that, I think we've done what we came here to do. Veni, vidi, vici. I was going to talk about robots tonight, but we didn't get the opportunity. We got to figure out
Scary.
some kind of did you see it?
No.
Oh, fuck.
I'm just mean in general. Robots are scary. That's my opinion on it.
All right. We got to figure out some programming, but we'll figure it out. It'll be great. You got 5 styluses. You might as well use them. Hit like, subscribe to the channel. We'll see you real soon. Thank you, everybody.